Okay. Well, it says I'm live and it says you can see me. Whether or not that is actually true, we will see, won't we? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to screw up your week. I know, right? I'm a Sunday person, but I'm actually thinking about changing my day. I haven't actually decided if that's something I'm going to do yet, but yeah, I don't like that. That's a little better. I have absolutely nothing to say. But seriously, just sitting around earlier today, and I was like completely freaking disappointed at what is available on YouTube, on Facebook, and even though I love Facebook, I love my Facebook feed, particularly my Pages feed, because I got so much cool stuff that comes through there usually. But oh my God, I wasn't going to talk about this. I wasn't going to talk about it at all. I wasn't even going to say the fucking name. But I suppose it's kind of different because I'm not on Facebook. I'm actually over here on YouTube. I don't actually know what she supposedly said, but I am so overhearing everybody talk about Roseanne fucking Barr. Like, are we seriously talking about this? The same people that are talking about Roseanne fucking Barr are the same people that say to me, who cares if the earth is flat? Aren't there better things to worry about? Apparently, the better things to worry about is Roseanne Barr and what she's politically talking about. Oh, and also this week, apparently, Donald Trump is, politically meeting with Kim, look at my gigantic ass Kardashian. So, I mean, I don't even know what to fucking say about the shit that people think is more important to talk about than the shape of the earth that they live on. That's just me. Maybe I'm fucking crazy. Maybe I am really fucking stupid. I mean, I don't know. But hi, guys. What's up? Nobody says I can't see you, so I guess you can see me. Oh, so yeah, I guess some things did go on this week. But, honestly, that's probably what I mostly do with my Facebook feed is listen to what my friends are talking about because I'd rather find out from them than from, Fox News. This just in. No, I did you guys hear any more about that new school shooting? I don't even know where it was supposed to be at. It fell off. It actually makes me wonder if it was a legitimate thing or not because it fell off. I haven't heard anything about it. It didn't go on for days. Nobody was on CNN. The president wasn't talking about it. It was nothing. It was like it happened and everybody was like, oh, is it a false flag? And then no one talked about it. So that's probably a pretty good indication that it might have actually been a legitimate thing. I don't know. Yeah, you can't. I have friends on Facebook. I want to regularly, like every single day, say something really super passive aggressive and ignorant, like if you voted for Trump or specifically didn't vote for Trump, unfriend me because I don't want to fucking talk to you. I don't care about your fucking politics. I don't care about this fake system that's set up to make us think this way or that or make us pay attention to whatever. Like if you seriously think presidents are still actual things that make a difference in your life, unfriend me and move on with your life because we have nothing to talk about. We have nothing to talk about. Unfortunately, that is how much I have to talk about with most of the people I know, most of the people in my life. I don't have any friends. I mean, I have you guys. I mean, friends in real life, somebody that if I was like, I'm free today, I should grab a friend and we should go do lunch. There is one person that I could call. One. That's it. One. And actually, I realized a couple of days ago, actually it was like a week or so ago, I ended up helping somebody who lives near here But they didn't really have anybody to call. And I was like, well, I can help you with that. I don't mind. I'm not doing anything. And she was like really blown away and was like, really, wow, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And it was because in assessing her situation, it occurred to me that if I was in the exact same situation and my husband was busy, there's literally no one I call. There's no one to call. Anybody that would come help me, like my grandma, who now barely even knows her own freaking name and is in a nursing home, or my mom, who is in work 50 miles in the other direction from me. You know, I mean, I don't have friends. I don't have people. I don't have a clan anymore. My clan pretty much lives inside the walls of my house. And that gets kind of lonely. I think that's something that we truth seekers have in common. We seem to, inadvertently alienate ourselves from the people we care about. And you can't go back. You can't go back and be like, okay, I give up. I was full of shit. I'm not even going to talk about any of that stuff anymore. Because once you see it, it's like, it's so huge and you just want to tell people. You want them to understand it from the perspective that you found. It's so important. It's so profound. But no one wants to see it. And then they don't want to talk to you anymore because you're fucking crazy or you think about weird stuff. Hi, Luke. How are you? So, yeah. Yeah. See, Sandra? It's like, so seriously, like here I am. I'm like, I kind of want to go do a hangout, but I don't have anything to say. I don't have anything informative. I don't have anything to teach you or tell you or whatever. I was just like, hey, I wonder if I turned it on and went live, if all of my crew would show up and we could sit and bullshit and be all, hey, what's up, guys? Because I don't think any of us have people. And it's so cool to have people. Even just to talk about the stupid Kim Kardashian Trump thing. Like everybody would actually want to discuss the political ramifications of that. And I'm like, political ramifications are like, you're stupid. That's the political ramification of that. And you can't talk to people about it. Hi, Richard. Oh, yeah. And now Rebecca's only doing Tuesdays, not Tuesdays and Thursdays. So there's even fewer people to hang out with. And see you in a little bit, Sandra. I don't know. There's a shortage, a definite shortage of people that want to talk about real things in the world. Honestly, for most people, I am designated to specifically talking about the weather, which is okay because we had 3 winters, no spring, and it is midsummer, like desert style right now, which is completely, well, not desert style because it's not dry here, but it's just today's June 1st. Okay, can we talk about that too? We're halfway through. I mean, we're in the final month to put us halfway through 2018. Like, it's over. It's gone. It is remarkable. And I know some of that just comes with age. Time passes faster, perspective-wise, when you get older. But I swear to God, it seems like time is a tangible thing lately. And like, it is doing something very weird. And a lot of the reason that I think that that's true is because my kids have even talked about how it seems like time is different. Like days are shorter, like time moves faster now. And my kids are little. I mean, they're not little, but they're, 18 and 16. And 18 and 16-year-olds are not experiencing that speeding up of time that you get as you age. At least I didn't at that age. I don't know about you guys. I didn't start to notice that until I started having my own children and watching them go from newborn, barely doing anything, can barely get their own hand in their mouth, to talking to you in full sentences. And it's like you blinked and this whole chunk of time was gone. And that was when I really started to observe the slipping away of time. But now, today's Friday. Oh my God. I got up this morning and I'm like, what is it? Like, it's like Wednesday, right? I'm missing days. I'm missing days. And it happens pretty frequently. I'm like, how can it possibly be the weekend already? How can I possibly have my hangout already? I actually set an alarm on my phone for Sundays at 2 o'clock. So the alarm goes off 4 hours before I'm supposed to be where I'm going to be, because who knows what I'm doing? I don't even know what day it is from moment to moment. So I figure if I got 4 hours notice, oh shoot, I forgot today's Sunday, I won't blow you guys off like I did that one time, which really sucked. I still feel bad about that. I just totally blew it off. And you know what? I felt bad about it and it really sucked. But then recently when Rebecca missed her Thursday hangout, and she was gone, and I sat there and I'm like, well, come on, waiting. Well, what the hell? And I'm like, this really does suck when people bail. I look so much forward to hanging out with you guys and talking about real things that, actually matter. So anyway, I missed you all. Did you all have a good week? Anything good happen? Sandra was talking about the Jupiter wave, which was really, really, really cool. And she sent me a video that I actually, I didn't close it. Well, I did, but I couldn't get my camera to work. So last ditch effort, I shut everything down and restarted it. And when I restarted it, that link was gone. But she sent me this link. Actually, it's probably in the beginning of chat. Yep, there it is. It's called Jupiter Wave Explained, and it's by FPV Angel, which is one of my subs and somebody that is in and out of my chat from time to time. And I have not got a chance to watch this, but I am hoping that it's really interesting. Here's the link if you guys want to check it out. I find the lunar wave really, really super interesting. I've never seen anything like it, and it is one of the most incredible direct proofs that I have seen that space, the sky, whatever is up there isn't what we've been taught or what we've been told or what we think it is, or what we assume it is even. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen it, but that weird refresh line that runs up the moon from Crow 777, and apparently now it's happening on Jupiter, or happening in front of Jupiter, or in the atmosphere. I hate that word now, but around Jupiter or whatever. So that's interesting, and I'm curious. It says Jupiter wave explained. All waves, in fact, they lie. They are sundogs. So I don't even know what that is, but you guys know Sandra. She ain't full of it, so I'll check it out because she gave it to me. It is very much frequency, like it's, I don't know. I think the stars and the lunar wave are probably the most incredible proofs I've seen for the notion that it's actually water up there. I don't know. Hi, Cat's Eyes. How are you? It does. It seems like a glitch in the matrix. And see, it's the waters above Richard, but at the same time, I don't necessarily believe that that's a literal thing. So I don't know. I don't like to believe things. I don't like to go with my beliefs or even form constructs around ideas. I mean, you can take an idea and, okay, this is possible. I can't prove it. I can't disprove it. I think maybe this. And if you build any kind of theory off of that, you can end up somewhere where you see it as a progression, and it's become your belief, and you don't know how you got there, but it seems concrete to you when you go back, and it actually started from something that you couldn't really prove in the first place. So I hate to even speculate on things for very long, because until I can prove something, until there's some kind of proof of something, I don't know, there's only so much speculating you can do before you're just piecing things together and calling it gravity, you know? I mean, that really bothers me about the scientific community. They came up with gravity as a theory and then built, I mean, they literally constructed a universe around this idea, this notion. And just because it seems to fit, it's called a fact. And they don't, it's not a fact. I've had so many people, oh, you don't understand what scientific theory is. A scientific theory basically means all the pieces fit. We think it might be this way, and everybody collectively agrees, and so we go with it. How is that much different than average speculation? I mean, I don't know. I think it's funny that gravity holds things down while they spin out, but it holds things in. It's whether it pulls in or pushes out just seems to depend on who's asking and what they want out of the deal, you know? I mean, in my world, science doesn't work that way. In my world, science is pretty, you know, it's repeatable. It's something you can demonstrate, and it works this way and it doesn't work this way, or it works this way and this way, but not this way and this way. But these are things that you can show that it does and then repeat them. And, you know, it was actually one of the most eye-opening conversations I had about gravity was I'm aggravated. Why can you not recreate this in a laboratory setting? Why can you not show me a demonstration of gravity other than, look, I dropped it and it fell, which is the most ignorant thing I've ever heard in my life. An actual demonstration, you know, show me something with a larger mass attracting something with a smaller mass. Show me something with this magical attracting or repellent ability. It's magic. And you can't do it in a laboratory. And this person who was like really nice and really decent and kind and thought I was completely crazy, but they were still really nice about everything they said to me, which I appreciate. But they were explaining to me that the main reason I can't recreate gravity in a laboratory experiment is because we're already within the gravitational field of the Earth. And so that is the dominant gravity, and you can't recreate a secondary field inside of a larger field. And at the time, I was like, okay, I mean, I don't know what to say to that, so I guess I have to accept it for now. But I walked away and thought about it for a little while, and it's like, then how does the moon exist between the sun and the moon, or the sun and the earth? It's a smaller gravitational field than either of the other two, and yet it not only exists, but it supposedly interacts between the other gravitational fields. I mean, it pulls all of this water. The earth's gravity, which is like many, 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 many times greater than the moon's gravity, isn't strong enough to keep the water from being pulled because the moon happened to be, I mean, I'm sorry, that's bullshit. You're out of your mind. That's stupid. That's really dumb. Like, and just because you know big words and you can make numbers fit into an equation doesn't make that not dumb. That's dumb. And how in the hell, I mean, Earth is in this sweet spot, right? It's in the sweet spot. If it was any closer to the sun, we would burn. And if it was any further away, we'd freeze. And yet it orbits in an elliptical fashion, and it's closer to the sun sometimes and it's further away other times, which incidentally is why we don't feel it move, because it's moving in a constant rate of speed, except for when it's faster, when it's closer to the sun, and then it's slower when it's further away from the sun. But you know, I mean, drink bleach and die, retard, and don't breed. Oh, I understand, thank you. I'm sorry. That was like a little side note off into La La Land, but yeah, gravity's awesome and magical and wonderful and found in the land of Narnia. I don't know why you can select closed caption on some of my Hangouts, but not others like this. I mean, there's no closed captioning. There shouldn't be words appearing because that has to be actually typed in by somebody. And I'm certainly not transcribing my Hangouts because who the hell's got time for that? Not like I said anything important enough to bother writing so someone else could hear it or read it or translate it or whatever. So I have no idea. I also use Chrome for Hangouts. My Hangouts don't work right on Firefox. Yes, widely accepted theory. Like, the fact that it's widely accepted makes it that much more concrete somehow. Like, if you can get more people to agree to it, that makes it more real. There's a lot of people that believe a lot of weird shit. Hell, look at all the Jehovah's Witnesses in the world. But the very fact that it is so widely agreed upon that that is the truth should make it factual, right? By scientific standards. Sulfur hexafluoride is up there, same characteristics as water. That's interesting. Is that something that they have actually like sampled with weather balloons or something? Or is that a really wild speculation? I'm curious though. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's up there. It does look like water. Every star that I've ever watched with my own eyes, the way they warble and dance like that. I mean, never mind all the videos, these amazing videos that all of these people with these P900s get. So awesome. But when I sit and just look at it through my binoculars, that's what it looks like. And a million years ago, I think I've told the story before, but you're my captive, so you have to listen. Ha, suffer. A million years ago, my husband and I were laying in bed. It was like, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning or so. It was like well into the night, is my point. It wasn't even remotely close to dusk. And we were laying here and talking, and there was this, through this very window that is behind the camera, through this very window, there was this light. And I was looking at it and I'm like, what is that? And he's looking at it and he's like, I don't know, is it an airplane? And I said, I don't think so. It's like, well, it's flashing. And I said, I know it's flashing, but it doesn't seem to move. I moved my head so it lined up with like a branch on a tree and then held still and watched it, and it doesn't move. It stays exactly at that spot, once there was a reference point. And I ended up digging out binoculars and going out on the front porch, middle of the freaking night. It was the middle of summer. So actually, because I know it was nice out, every summer since I went flat, this is my third summer being flat, I go out and look for this star because I've never seen it. I've never seen one that looked like it was doing what that star was doing. But I went out on the front porch with the binoculars and was looking at it, and it was flashing. It was round, and it seemed like it was moving in a circular motion, and it was flashing this really brilliant blue color, and then a lighter blue and kind of a reddish tone in between, and it was just flashing. It just flashed. It was incredible. And we watched it for a long time. We ended up actually sitting on the swing out front and just watching this star in the sky doing this weird flashing thing. And it moved with all of the rest of the stars. And, it was probably about an hour later, we came back in the house and went to bed, and that was that. But it was the weirdest experience ever. And the first time after going flat, the first time I came across a video on YouTube where they were showing the stars, oh, that slammed into my head. And I was like, remember that night we were looking at that really weird star? I can't believe we didn't question it. We didn't think about it. We didn't, if that's a star and a star is, 100 trillion light years away, why is it so big? And why is it flashing like that? Why does it look like there's water? It looks like there's water between you and the star. Pretty much every one that you look at, except for the really tiny, more pinpointed ones, they just look like dots of light. But any of them that are larger and obviously appear closer, they look like there's water. Why would it look like that? I mean, okay, the atmosphere has water in it, but it's not a damn swimming pool. You shine a light into a swimming pool and look at it, and that's what it looks like a flashlight through a swimming pool. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I can't believe I never asked. Not only didn't ask out loud, but I didn't even ask in my head. Like, we get these previously established knowings. We know things. We learned it. We taught it. We're taught. We read it. We watched it. We whatever. And we know. And so even presented with something that kind of flies in the face of everything I knew, I still didn't. What's up with that? It didn't even stand out in my mind. I never talked about it. Yeah, we saw this really weird flashing light in the sky. Never even came up again. Not until I went flat. And then once I went flat and started looking at stars, and I was like, oh my God, no wonder that was so weird. Why do we do that? We are such an easily programmed species. Humans are. I mean, it really doesn't take much to make us forget everything that we know and follow blindly. We're like, we really are no better than sheep, honestly, in general, even myself. Even at this point, having learned what I learned, I still find myself questioning new things and going, holy crap, why haven't I looked at that before or thought about that or asked a question about that? You don't. We accept the reality with which we are presented, and it is really scary how easy it is to pull one over on us. It flashed flashy. Hi, Alice in Mandela Land. No, it wasn't a drone because it didn't move. Never moved. During an eclipse, I watched a bunch of weird shit in the sky through my telescope, but some more weird drone-like, I don't know. Excellent. Thank you, Richard. I like videos. I like emails. I like, hey, check this out. It's kind of cool. Now I actually have people to send stuff to. Be like, hey, have you guys seen this? And actually send it somewhere, because I'm used to just like assaulting my husband with it. And he's not in denial, but he's not generally interested in things from the same perspective that I am, the same angle. He doesn't think about same things in the same way. Hi, True Love. Now we're all rolling in. And Teresa, greetings. Now that everybody's here and I'm pretty much done talking, not that I had that much to say to begin with. Unless True Love or Alice or anybody else for that matter wants to come on and have a chitty chat about anything. This was just a very impromptu, hey, I'm bored and I wonder if anybody wants to hang out and bullshit about anything kind of hangout, because I don't know, it's Friday afternoon. I gotta cook supper pretty soon, but ain't nothing going on. And I'm sitting here scrolling through the same crap in my Facebook feed for about the 5th time today. And I'm just like, I know there's people out there. I know there is. And if I say hi, maybe they'll come around and play. Teresa, I need a damn nap. You know what? I haven't slept well in several nights. And I just realized last night that, it's the full moon. That's probably exactly why I haven't been able to sleep. And I mean, I realized it at 3:30 in the morning last night. I haven't been able to sleep, been up napping here and there through the day. I don't know why that is. A lot of people have trouble sleeping during the full moon. I wonder what it is about that energy that makes sleep's so elusive. I don't even know if sleep's elusive. I mean, it is though, because usually I'm tired. I wish I could sleep. I'll lay in bed and not want to get up. I'll lay there and tell myself, you should get up and do something. I don't want to. I don't even want to get on the computer. I don't want to watch anything on TV. I don't want to read. I don't want to wake up more. I want to go to sleep. I just lay there. Oh, thank you for asking, Teresa. The bunnies are gone. And I was actually, I went out and checked the area again before I came on here because I was planning on telling you guys about it, and then I forgot about it. No, I went out yesterday morning, and the babies were laying there, and I went out a little while later, and they were not in their hole on top of each other. They were kind of spread out a little bit and up kind of around the edges of the hole and just kind of relaxing. And then we had some pretty good storms last night. It rained quite a bit, but I had these two big sheets of plywood. So I had the one, and I was moving it from side to side of the chair to keep them from being in direct sunlight during the day. But then I was like, well, why am I doing that? Duh, I have two sheets of plywood. So I put it up and made like a little teepee over the chair so they wouldn't get rained on and they would be protected from the sun. And I went out first thing this morning. I mean, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep, and they're not in there. So I'm assuming that Mama moved them out of there. And I've been watching for little hoppity hops in the grass, but I imagine, because we have some pretty tall weeds out back, and I imagine she's going to probably keep them in the weeds as much as she can, because there's, with the chickens and the cats and everything, there's too much going on in the yard. So, but there's no fur, bones, anything weird that you would find if a predator found a nest of babies, and they'd more than doubled in size in the last week. They were huge, and I went out and was checking on them one day, and I startled one of the babies, and he hopped away from me, and I was like, no, don't go anywhere, and I had to catch him and put him back in his nest and then get the hell out of there, because I didn't want to scare him out into the yard where the chickens could get him or something. But he's quick, and he did not want nothing to do with me. So I think that they were old enough, and I think that it's probably just an instinctual thing that they all stay together until Mama comes back. I don't think that they really wander out until she actually tells them to do so. But they're gone. And I went back out, like I said, right before I came in here, and checked to make sure that they were still gone. And I looked through the garden a little bit, and there's not a trace. They're completely gone. So I'm thinking they're probably out in the weeds having a good old time. They're so cute. Oh my gosh. So cute. But that's good. And I'm going to keep the stupid garden mode low so that doesn't happen again. They want to do that, they can do it out by the woods where the weeds are. That was so traumatic. I'm so unimpressed that happened. Like, I actually sat and got all teary about it again just earlier today. I'm so glad that they're gone, and that I knew they were there, and that I kept the cat out of there and kept the chickens out of there, because chickens were in there too. The baby chicks, before I set up the thing under the coop, I was filing them into that garden and closing them in, because it was like a chicken playpen, They'd have killed them. They'd have killed every last one of them. They'd have pecked them to death. That would have been awful. So yeah, like job one from now on is keeping the garden mowed down really low, so that never happens again. That was so not awesome. Now that's interesting. Sandra says she's sleeping better since she started taking the natural desiccated thyroid Alice told her about. See, I started taking, what do I have? It's right over here. I started taking brand name Peak Performance raw whole food thyroid support with ashwagandha root and turmeric and more. And it's got all kinds of shit in it. Here, I'll throw you guys a link if you want to look at it. I'm not convinced that I have a thyroid problem, but I'm a little afraid that I might. The main reason I'm not convinced that I do is because I don't have a really hard time losing weight. And that's one of the very first issues that people seem to have is they have a hard time losing weight, or they have unexplained gain weight. And I don't seem to have that problem. You can see the picture of the with all the ingredients on it through that link. But I'm paranoid because I've noticed right there, there's a lump in my throat. And it's not an Adam's apple, to be clear. Because, yeah, those happen up here further. But it's right down at the bottom there. And I don't know if it's a thing that has developed or if it's always been there. Because you can't see it. Tip my head up, you don't see it. When I talk, it doesn't move or anything. It's not on my vocal cords or anything. But I know that when your thyroid is being weird, you can get growth right there. And I'm a little paranoid, but I've looked up where we get magnesium and iodine, zinc, manganese, all of these things that are really good for the thyroid. And I don't eat a lot of those things, which has made me kind of paranoid. I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac. However, I can openly admit this and I'm okay with it because I don't run to the doctor and I don't do pharmaceuticals. If I think that I may possibly be at risk for having some kind of issue, I will go and find a natural supplement and supplement for a little while and see if I feel better, if I notice a difference or whatever. And so I started taking this thyroid stuff. You don't feel like crap when you get up. So, not a morning person? Like, hard to get together in the morning? Because I don't actually, the only person I know who has had genuine thyroid issues is my mom. However, my mom smokes, my mom drinks, my mom eats a diet that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. She drinks soda and eats vending machine food and all of these things that I not only don't do, but have actually taken care to detox from for years. And so when I listen to her talk about her thyroid symptoms, I cannot believe that they're all due to her thyroid. They can't be. They just can't be. So I don't know. I don't seem to have any symptoms. So I guess for now, I'm just trying to support my thyroid and make sure that it continues to be okay. And as long as I don't grow an Adam's apple or a banana to match, I guess I'll be all right. Hey, Marty. You're not missing anything. We're just bullshitting about nothing. So sluggish in the morning, like hard to get moving. Because I feel like that. But a cup of coffee, I'm off to the races, you know? And yeah, I mean, if I was like, okay, I'm gonna lose 5 pounds this week. I could do it without much trouble. Like between right now and next Friday, I could drop 5 pounds. I have no desire to do so. And it would actually require some willpower, and I would probably, be going for a run every day and being very selective about what I eat. But it is my understanding that people that actually have a thyroid issue are incapable of that. Even with the diet change and exercise, they wouldn't be able to just lose weight like that, because it affects your metabolism in such a way that that's just not really a possibility. So I don't really think I have a thyroid issue. But Alice, would you please send me something? Send me something about it, about what you buy, where you buy it, what you read that made you buy it, because I would be definitely curious, just for my own knowledge, and because that sort of thing runs in my family. And who knows, maybe I'll convince my mom to try something different once in a while. You're right, Martin, you didn't. My hangout's not for you so much. Thank you, dear. Oh, Alice, I can't imagine you needing to lose weight. You're not exactly a pudgy girl. Good. Sandra will too. I'm going to be assaulted with information. Assault me with your information. Okay, so Martin's here. Let's talk about something that pertains to Martin. What do we know about magic mushrooms? How's that? Does that work for you, Marty? I have some. They need to grow. I joined this mushroom group on Facebook, a mushroom identification group, because I have like 10 different kinds of mushrooms that grow in my yard, and I'm endlessly curious. There's a couple that I'm pretty sure I know what they are, but not that I'm going to run out and eat the mushrooms out of my backyard, because I don't have a death wish or anything. But curiosity, it's pretty cool. Some people are really knowledgeable about stuff like that. How on earth do you become so knowledgeable about stuff like that? I don't know. Now it's the opposite, though, not due to thyroid. Oh, you mean you don't need to lose weight, and it's not because of your thyroid. Gotcha. Well, fine, Martin. Don't talk about your mushrooms. I'll talk about my own damn mushrooms. Got this damn pine forest next door, and apparently there's a red-capped, religiously worshipped, enlightening mushroom that is known for growing in pine forests. So I'm curious, now that I know what it looks like, if it actually grows next door here. I don't know if I'll tell y'all if it does, but I'm curious. They cure migraines. Is that so? Like real migraines, or like I have a really, really bad headache and I call it a migraine because I think that that's a really bad headache? Because, I mean, not to sound condescending, I don't mean that. I actually know somebody who every time she has a really bad headache, she says, "Oh, I've got a migraine today," because she thinks that migraine is synonymous with really, really bad headache. And she doesn't actually realize that a migraine headache is actually a thing unto itself. Like if you take migraine medicine for a migraine, it may or may not help your headache. If you take migraine medicine for a headache, it will not help you. My mother used to have optical migraines which are pain free, and they would affect her eyesight. She would start to go blind, which would cause her to have a full-on panic attack, because she was prone to panic attacks and full of anxiety anyway. But then a little bit later in my life, I had a friend for a while who would get optical migraines, and she would actually go completely blind. And actually called me once and was like, well, I'm sitting at work and I'm having an optical migraine and I can't see anything. So I'm just sitting here in the blackness and I figured I'd call you because I can't do anything. And so we just sat and bullshitted for 15, 20 minutes until her vision started to return, because it's some kind of nerve something that happens in your eyeballs. Migraines are really weird. So yeah, I'm curious. Are mushrooms like a cure? Do they actually affect like real life migraines, or is it just like about headache pain? Okay, let me go back here. Hmm. A comparative potency of select psilocybe mushrooms. That's actually a really cool site. Thanks, Marty. That's interesting. So I will look more closely at that in a little bit. Send you the link if I like. They are preventative. Interesting. You know, I wish I could convince some people to take mushrooms as a preventative. A preventative for what? I don't know. Assholiness, maybe. Because that really seems to help with that, I think. Assholiness, that is. You know? I don't know. It was really interesting. My oldest son's first experience with mushrooms, which he had in my backyard with me. But he saw a grid in the sky, which is interesting. And I've never heard anybody else talk about that before. But that was the first thing he said. We got out in the backyard and he was like, do you see the grid in the sky? The crisscross in the sky. It's everywhere. It's like a big net over the whole world. I didn't see it. I was busy, enjoying melty shit. But if taken every few months, they can prevent migraines and cluster headaches. That's really interesting. Lion's mane mushrooms for migraines. Well, I don't have migraines, but I would make a note of that for anybody that I do know. I get people come to me all the time. Hey, do you know anything about this and that? And I think it's because I have so much, I acquire so much that I don't mean to. I'll look up one thing and it'll take me down 5 rabbit holes. And before I'm done, I've got like volume 1 of that encyclopedia. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to use any of that. But then somebody will ask me a question 10 years later. And I'm like, actually, I do know something about that. It's weird to run around with so much useless information. And I sent you a link, True Love. Yes, Sandra, like the Hunger Games grid. Good night, Martin. Yeah, he said it was a grid. And it's funny because I wasn't flat then, but I had spent, if you guys have never watched Spirit Science on YouTube, you totally should. Spirit Science is a really cool YouTube channel. He talks about all kinds of spiritual / science things, but it's more like the science of spirituality, and it's just different, kind of new agey, kind of not, kind of ancient thought processes. And I don't know, he just talks about a lot of neat things. He has a lot of neat little series that he does. And he was talking about the consciousness grid around the planet and how different species seem to connect to the consciousness grid and interact with species of their kind just consciously through this energetic grid that seems to be around everything. And they claim that that is what is responsible, not they, spirit science, but in general, they claim that that is what is responsible for things like the 100th monkey effect, which is some experiment they did where they went to some island and taught these monkeys how to do something, how to break open a coconut, or how they taught them how to do something. I don't remember. It was years and years ago that I read about it. But after enough monkeys in that area had learned how to do that thing, they found that monkeys completely removed from the island, who had never had any kind of interaction with the monkeys on that island, now knew how to do the thing that the monkeys on the island were doing. And they think that that is why there are things like pyramids all over, and they all have the same shape, the same design, the same measurements. They use the same basic ideas. The different gods that they talk about have different names, but same general functions and the same general things that they do when they appear. And it makes sense that we are all psychically connected somehow, and it makes sense that that energy would completely surround our entire world, as it were, in whatever shape it appears in. Hello, Yolanda. How are you, my dear?
I'm fine. How are you, my dear?
Oh, I am doing just lovely.
That's good. I can hear myself.
Uh-oh. Well, I can hear you too, but I don't hear two of you, if that helps.
I can hear an echo. Anyway, I don't have my camera on because I just went for a run and my face is all red, and I just had a shower. So, but I'm here.
What? You're not going to share your ugly with the world? Would it make you feel better?
Hell no.
Like there.
Hell no.
Yolanda and I are joining you today.
Oh, yeah. It's funny you're talking about the 100th monkey. I was listening to somebody else talking about that this morning.
Really? Go figure.
Yeah. I've heard it before, but it's interesting that that seems to be popping up again.
The best things always come in more than one. They're at least pairs and threes or whatever. Man, I really fucked my hair when I did that. It's humid and my curls are being like ridiculous today.
Your hair is so curly.
It is ridiculous. Oh my God. But yeah, things seem to pop up just when we need to hear it, and you know, you go in that direction and suddenly, oh, well, this is everything I was hoping to find somewhere. I love how that happens.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and when I first came to Flat Earth, he was there to help me get through the struggle and the pain. And so he was, I guess you could say, further along in the truth and the rabbit hole than I was. And now I'm way further down than he is. And I started dropping these things on him, and he's like, wait, what are you talking about? Huh? I don't, hold on. Let me just catch up. What? I don't understand. This is too much. Let me get there in my own time. I'm like, I'm sorry.
And the student has surpassed the master.
Yeah, because I remember, like, I thought when you first come to certain truths, you kind of think that certain people know everything and you're just catching up, but then you realize that it's kind of endless. And so it's kind of like a morphing thing. So it's really interesting. But he took a break from all of this stuff for a while, so it kind of makes sense. And when you take a break from it, you kind of, first of all, you forget certain things, and that momentum isn't there. It's funny how that veil seems to come back down again.
I couldn't take a break. I mean, I can take a break from Facebook. I can take a break from YouTube as far as, you know, interacting. I can shut it down and go silent for a little while, because I think we all need that sometimes. We all need to just be. No expectations, no anything, just be for a little while. But to actually stop seeking. And that's what this is to me. This is seeking. This is finding truth. This is everything. This is reality. I can't take a break from reality. You take a break from reality and then creepy shit happens. And then you come back and you're like, what did I miss?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think it's possible to take a break because it's everywhere. It's everything. It's in every single detail of life. How can you possibly take a break? It's impossible.
Well, I think it's a difference between a conspiracy theorist and a truth seeker. Because I used to be a conspiracy theorist. Oh, well, what about this? And isn't that weird? And isn't that weird? No, wouldn't that be weird? And what would be the motive for that? And you theorize on conspiracies. However, learning that 9/11 and knowing that it was an inside job was a life changer for me, because it was like, that is huge. That is life changing for everybody. And if they'll lie on that kind of scale and pull the wool over all of these eyes, what else am I missing? And all of a sudden it was a matter of, I know I missed a lot and I want to know what. And I went looking for it. Where's the lie? What's the official story? What are the crazies saying about it? And how do I find what's in the middle, you know? And it just, because this is reality. Everything I know is shaped based on what happened in the 60s and the 70s, you know, and what my parents taught me, etc. And it turns out most of that's bullshit. So you don't take a break. Because taking a break basically means I'm willing to accept your programming for a little while. I'm going to take a break from seeing the truth and accept your programming for a while.
Absolutely, that's what it means. That's absolutely what it means. And that's why it bothers me when I come across somebody who's like, claims to be a truther, claims to know what's going on, and yet does all the things that the people in the Matrix, for lack of a better word, do blindly, getting caught up in the programming and totally forget the fact that they lied about everything, that we don't know a damn thing about this place that we live in. How can you do that?
I don't understand.
Like, you're just as bad as they are.
Worse even. No, you're worse. Because, and see, I love this. Mark Passio said this, and I was like, wow. He talks about how the word ignorance would be so much more powerful if we used it as applied to what it actually means. Ignorance isn't actually a lack of information. Ignorance would be better served if it was pronounced ignorance, because that's what it is. You are presented with the truth. You have information. You have the ability to look, and you ignore and don't see, won't see, refuse to look. And that's what people do. That's disturbing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. And I think we should start pronouncing it ignorance. I type it as ignore ants in comments.
I type
you're being ignorant.
All caps and then dash ANCE, and that's how I type it now, because I feel like it has more impact. You are ignoring this on purpose.
Right. Yeah. And people think ignorant is such a dirty word, and it really is. It's actually worse than what we think it is, because people think ignorant means stupid. It doesn't mean stupid. It means that you're deliberately overlooking information that's right in front of you. It's insulting. It's insulting is what it is.
You know, I think that it actually worked to my benefit to live such a shitty life until I became an adult, to be so uncomfortable all the time. My whole childhood was just awful. Everything was awful all the time. I was always uncomfortable. And I think that worked to my benefit, because when I became an adult and I started to be presented with truth, the discomfort that it made me feel wasn't new to me. It wasn't something that I immediately rebelled against, because I was like, okay, this is nothing new. This is not a new feeling. What don't I know now? what is wrong now? What's a lie now? Because I was so kind of accustomed to it already. So I don't know. And I don't think it's an accident that most of the people that seem to be the most awake seem to have really been through the most trials in their life, the most ridiculous. Are you kidding me? Is this a made-for-TV movie that you're telling me about kind of lives? It seems like most people lead those lives. Don't think it's an accident.
Yeah, I don't know if I did. My life was pretty normal, I guess, that normal, but I never fit in. I was never, I was an against the grain kind of person. I was a challenger of authority, a challenger of information. I was just curious. I was just like, this doesn't feel right. I guess, a justice seeker. I was always standing up for what was right and true, and I couldn't just go with the go with the flow of what was being presented to me. Everything just seemed weird to me. It just seemed like, why are we doing this? And nobody bothered to question it. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that was different about me, is that it just seems stupid. Like, going to work every day seemed stupid. Getting on a train to go to work, stupid. Everybody dressing the same, looking the same, buying the same thing seems stupid. It's like, why do we do this? What are we doing? What is the point? Why do people live such miserable lives? Why do they go to work and do it over and over again if they fucking hate it? Like, none of that made sense to me. But in terms of having a trauma or a really difficult life, I can't say that I did. I guess I went through depression, but considering what other people have been through, I wouldn't have had trauma in my life. So I'm not.
Well,
yeah, I've had
not,
hardship.
It's not a rule, for sure. It just seems to me that the majority of people that are waking up the most were the most uncomfortable before they started waking up. And you definitely fall into that, because I never felt like I fit in either, ever, anywhere. And what you were saying about ignorance and people that go with the flow, I am all about, and I know that's not what you meant. I'm all about going with the flow. There's something about going with the ease that makes things happen. However, there's so many people that are willing to compromise their morals, their values. They will sit and they will watch something before their very eyes, in front of them, like in person. They will watch it happen, and it goes against everything they believe and everything they stand for, and it makes them so uncomfortable they want to scream, and they'll shut up because they don't want to make a wave. They don't want to stand up for something, or take a fucking stand. And I think that is probably one of the things that bothered me the most coming into adulthood, was the amount of people that were unwilling to take a stand for anything that they actually believed in. And that was probably what prompted my truth seeking the most, because it was like, this shit is not right. And if I continue sitting here and shutting up about it, I'm going to want to just fucking die. I'm going to want to not be me anymore, because I can't just sit and listen just because the rest of the world thinks it's okay. It's not okay.
Right. And I think a trait that a lot of us have in common, at least the ones that speak out, there's a lot of people who don't have that. They're still in the shadows. They don't feel comfortable talking about it. They're speaking out and all that sort of thing.
And that's another one.
So
Alice says, and everyone wondering why I couldn't just be, quote, normal. And I think that's a large part of it too. Even some of us have suffered trauma, and some maybe haven't. I think the collective idea is none of us ever felt normal. It was easier to stand up and not be normal because, well, I'm already completely screwed anyway. None of you like me anyway. Y'all think I'm nuts. So I might as well be even less normal than I already am.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that I found out that the reason why I don't fit in, I always felt like I can't function here. And now that I know why, I'm happy about it, because it's like, you know, the reason I can't function here is because I'm not freaking satanic devil worshiper who's trying to fuck up this place.
Funny you should say it that way. I have a question, and we don't have to elaborate on this for long, but oh, hang on. Yes, please. Oh, Penske? Oh, okay. Love you. Bye. He's leaving. You are one of my friends who is largely anti-biblical, aren't you?
I wouldn't say I'm anti-biblical. I would say that I am not religious, and I would say that the Bible is about astrotheology.
Okay. And I don't mean to put you on the spot because this is weird, and I'm not sure exactly what to think of it myself. One of my Facebook friends who I was talking to earlier, we were talking about basically our differences in view of enlightenment and Christ. And he was explaining to me that part of the reason that Christianity is different is because Christianity is the only one that actually demonizes the snake. The snake is the devil. The snake is the bad guy that comes along and tricks Eve into enlightening herself and her husband. And he talks about how, oh my God, he wrote me a book. And he talks about how in other religions or theologies or whatever, the snake is generally the savior. And that's why Christians are different, because, you know, every other religion is the goddamn devil and Christ is the only way, etc. And I wondered just if you had any thoughts on the snake and Adam and Eve in the Bible. Because, I mean, if you have nothing to say about it, that's okay. That you just totally, like, triggered a thought in my head, and I just wondered if you had any thoughts about that. It's been recently proposed to me, and I've been looking into it myself, that the two creation stories in the Bible are actually opposite gods. For instance, in Genesis 1, God creates everything by speaking it. And God said, do this. God said, do that. And everything just did, because all he did was speak. And then in Genesis 2, this other guy, the Lord God, comes along and he's like making shit out of earth and pulling shit out of it to make other shit, where the other God was like, I say, do this. And it happens. And then in Genesis 2, the other God's like, look what I made. Now do what I tell you to, or I'll throw you out of the garden. And so I'm actually looking into this idea that the Jehovah that every religion follows is actually the false god. And you know what? He was the snake in the garden. The snake is the one that told the truth. God that said, if you eat this, you're going to die. You didn't die. No one died. It was a lie. God lied. Why would God lie? So
control.
Just wondered if you had any thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, I do. God lied to control, and he got mad at Adam and Eve because they went against his word. They went against his control, and they exercised, I guess, what you could call free will. But I mean, this is a difficult thing because there's so many ways to interpret this, but it is obvious to me that there are two creation stories, and that the original creation story is glossed over, and that there is a gap there that does not explain what happened in between. And some say that There are other stories later on in the Bible that fill in that gap to some extent. But yes, the second creation story, Genesis 2, is the Lord God, which is the evil God, the wrong God, the God of this place, the God that infiltrated this place. It is a being like us. It is not the true God. The true God speaks things into creation. This place is a sonoluminescent. It is a place that is manifested thought, and that is the true creation. The other God that people think is Yahweh is the anti-God. He is not the real God. He is a being trying to be God, trying to convince people he is God. Throughout the entire First Testament, he is trying to convince people that he is God. For therefore you will know that I am the Lord. He is a fucking liar. He's a liar. So that is why I don't that is why I can't be into the whole Christian thing. I can't be into the whole Yahweh thing. He is not a God. He is a being trying to pretend to be God.
I triggered you so bad. That's so cool. No, see, and okay, I have promised that I would make a video about this, which I will. Because it was brought to my attention and I started looking into it, because I am all about the truth. I don't want to know anything unless it's the truth, period. If it doesn't make sense, that's okay. It doesn't have to make sense. As long as I understand that this is the truth, it's the truth, I will figure it out. I will find a way to understand it. And I had that presented to me, and it's actually Little Bird wants me really badly to make a video about it, and I want to, but I have to know more, because anybody that knows anything about believing Christian things while not being Christian, you can't say something that is, blasphemous or whatever, because you get your shit jumped. And so I've been trying to look into this more, read about this more, understand this more. This Lord God fella, after God created everything, created it equal, created it beautiful, and said, go forth and prosper. Multiply, yep. Prosper, fill the earth and do whatever you want. And then this Lord guy comes along and creates a little garden and puts a guy in it that he makes out of dirt and then pulls his rib out to create his woman like an afterthought. Like, I made this man, oh shit, I suppose he's probably going to be a lonely, and creates the woman. And then all of this sin is immediately in the world. The sin comes with the creation of the dirt people, essentially, because the snake comes along and he's like, he's lying to you. This isn't real. He's lying to you. And they're like, okay. And she feeds her husband the shit, and they wake up. They know they're naked. They know they're trapped. They know what the hell's going on, and they hide. And then the Lord comes along and he's like, who told you this? And they're like, the real God, apparently. And they get into the whole serpents, the evil thing. But the guy on my Facebook, he's right. In every other religion, serpents are revered, and it's because it is about the Kundalini that travels up your spine. Now, and this will be the final thing that I say on it until I turn it over to Alice, who was chomping at the bit in the chat, and I can't wait to hear her little take on it, which I'm sure is a lot like True Love's and mine. But my main issue is, if it's evil to raise your Kundalini, if it's evil to observe these things, to meditate, to raise the sacred secretion within, if this is an evil thing, if having a decalcified pineal gland is evil, why in the hell are we born with it decalcified? Why is it actually sin that calcifies the pineal gland to keep us from seeing? Why is that where Jacob sees God, but us not seeing it is the way it's supposed to be? And that makes absolutely zero fucking sense to me. This is, if you are functioning properly and detoxified and not poisoned half to death. This is something, this raising of your Kundalini is something that you experience on a fairly regular basis. How can this be an evil thing if it is a naturally functioning thing that happens inside of your body? But I'm going to hell and to suffer for it because apparently that means I'm evil. Because a snake said so. There's talking snakes that said so. Hello, Alice.
Well, I
Hello.
agree. Hi, Alice.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I didn't even get to the part about the snake in the garden, but I'll let Alice say her piece.
But that's the issue that I have with this, is that if you're going to take it literally, then you have to take it completely literally. You have to take all the Bible literally. And if you're not, if you're going to really understand it, that it's astrotheology. It's a guide to understanding yourself. It's a guide to raising your spiritual understanding. If you understand the book that way and you read it that way, then you cannot read it literally. You can't.
Well, I think that there are some literal things. And see, that's where I think a lot of people that come against me have an issue. Because yes, when Jesus said, love your neighbor, he meant it literally. He didn't mean go have sex with anybody, but he meant, you know what? Love them. I love you. You disagree with me? Fine. If you loved somebody that disagreed with you, you would be like, fine, and you would walk away. You wouldn't beat them to fucking death. You wouldn't hound them and stalk them and harass them and be a fucking scourge on their life. You would just be like, okay, I love you anyway. And you would walk away. You would do things for their best interest. You would be kind to other people. I mean, I think that there is a lot of literal stuff. I think that the
message is literal, but it doesn't make the person literal, though.
Well, that's what I mean. I think that the main issue is with people believing that the Old Testament is a literal historical document, and it's not.
Right. Yeah, right. That's my issue.
Well, here's the difficulty with some of it is like you've got the Genesis story that, I mean, like I was saying, it can be interpreted so many different ways. And if it's not taken literally, then how do you interpret Genesis? We've got two different creation stories. You've got the God who spoke the universe into being and everything in it, which is actually how things are. This is a universe that thoughts become things. That's a fact. Then you've got the second creation story that has this Lord God who pulled Adam out of the dust of the earth. Basically, it says in the Bible that he resurrected the dead. He pulled these bones, and then there's another part later on in the Bible in Ezekiel where he does the same damn thing. He goes to a graveyard and resurrects the dead. So he is a freaking he's a
zombie maker.
Yeah, he creates zombies.
He's a zombie maker.
So are we to take this literally, or are we not to take this literally? And yet it's not literally. It is also available in the subtext. You can't, when you read what it says, God created Adam from the dust of the earth, then you can say, oh, he created him from the dust of the earth. He took a bunch of dust and made a man out of it. No, if you read the subtext, he took Adam from the dust of the earth means that he took him out of his grave. The dust of the earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, is a grave. And it even says that in the interlinear. It's in the original Greek translation, or Hebrew translation.
I never put that together. That's an awesome point. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's in the original translation. And so you're pulling a man out of the dust of the earth. He is dead. He's a fucking dead zombie. And he breathed life into him. He put his spirit into him.
Oh, no. Hold it. Hold the phone. Because I actually pulled the Bible up while you were talking, and then you just said that, and I can't let that go. He did not breathe his spirit into him. And that, I think, is the main point. Because back in Genesis 1, we scroll, and he says, oh, where is it? Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of man, God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over, etc., etc., etc. Then you get into Genesis 2. And it says that the God is the God of spirit. It's the God in spirit. And if you look up the original language, spirit is translated as breath. Your breath,
Right.
the spirit of God. And you go to Genesis
right here, Genesis 2:7. The Lord God formed man from the dust of the earth, from the dust of the ground, and breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, and the man became a living being.
a living soul.
It says being here.
You're not in the King James.
Which
and that's why I love the King James.
But that's the thing, is we're looking at King James translation.
Well, my point is,
so that's King James version.
Soul becomes important when you get into the Lord God. Before that, you are dealing with the God of spirit. I think that your spirit and your soul are different. I think that your spirit is the thing that makes your heart beat, and your soul is that programmable part of you that is your ego. And he became a living soul. I think that is really important. It was the breath of life, but it became a soul, and it wasn't about a spirit. That's my only point. And when you said that, it triggered that's different in my head.
But the breath of life is different from the soul. And also later on in Ezekiel, the Lord God refuses to breathe life into these dead bodies. He makes Ezekiel breathe into them because he can't do it anymore.
Yep. Like he's run out or something. Like he only
There's
has
something
so much.
There's something there that he can't do it anymore, or he won't do it anymore because he learned his lesson the first time.
Almost like he's passing it on to the mortals to do it themselves.
Right. So there's something to this breath of life that is this spirit that he has breathed into this being. Now, yes, the King James Version says man became a living soul, which is, like you said, if that means that soul, if you are equating the other versions through the interlinear, then soul is being to. It's ridiculous how their interpretations are so different. I don't know why somebody would say living soul and another would say living being if they're not the same. It's kind of very misleading.
You know how hard it is to take these ideas that you've come to and verbalize them. So, but
for sure.
There is so many reference to selling your soul. I don't think you can sell your spirit. I think your spirit is the thing that actually animates you. Your spirit is the thing that actually makes you alive. You're alive because you have the spirit.
Our spirit is who we are. Our spirit is what everyone says, our soul, that's our being, who we are. That's what I think our spirit is. They've interchanged the words somewhere along the way to get us to trick us into contracts and to saying things a certain way to trick us into contracts. But I think it's the other way around. I think our spirit is truly who we are. I think our soul is this false thing that they have somehow put over.
Like your ego.
Sort of like the virus that they've put over this place. It's the same type of thing. It's the virus they've put on us that's trapped us here.
I think that the spirit is a fractal of God, true God. Mm-hmm. It is who we really are. It is a constant, and it can never die. And I think the soul is something that is attached to this place. It is attached to the zodiac. It is what allows us to play here. It is what animates us here. And I think that when people say the soulless ones, they're actually spiritless ones. They're the ones that do not have a fractal of God, whereas they are allowed to play here with a soul. And that is why these beings that are so freely willing and able to sell their soul to the devil, because they don't put any value on it. They don't have a spirit to begin with. So, I mean, that's just my interpretation, but it seems to be fairly consistent against all of the information that I've come up against.
That's pretty much the conclusion I've come to.
I think that's what allows you to reincarnate here too.
Yes,
you know, that's what puts you in the cycle, you know.
I think
the soul cycle, the solar system.
Exactly.
I think the main difference between what you're saying and what I think is that I think that the soul and the ego are directly connected. I think I think your soul is your earthly person. Your spirit is who you want to be connected to, your higher self. Yes.
Yeah, it's the divine.
It's connected to my spirit. And the more I'm connected to my soul, the more ground-based I am, the more ego-driven I am, and the more I connect to my spirit and reject my soul. And that's why I think we sell our soul, because you're basically selling your programmable self. I will sell my soul to make money. And so I will give away every moral, every value, everything I hold dear, everything that the spirit tells me is correct. I will sell it to get the ego gratification of this plane, of the lower existence. And we've got a newbie. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Can you hear me?
A new face.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, I just want to come and say hello, really. I don't know what to say, but just want to come and say hello. I always like watching your stream.
Well, I'm totally psyched to have your actual face on my screen. So, hi. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought I'd come and join you. You know, I'm a loner too, from what you were saying earlier. Yeah. I don't have a very large circle of friends.
We're all loners.
Like,
how funny that
people just
loners find each other. Are we a group of loners anymore? Because now that we're not alone,
I know, not anymore.
And yeah, I can feel the estrogen in the room. It's a little scary.
Any thoughts on spirit and soul, Chris?
Oh, yeah, because I was kind of missing for a bit then, but well, I don't think you need to be religious to be spiritual, for one. So I don't really buy into any religion, like the scripture and stuff like that. I don't really trust it. I think anyone can be spiritual. You don't need religion to be spiritual. I mean, what do you mean? Do you mean like after death? What are you talking about? Like your soul?
We were talking about the difference between the spirit and the soul, and that.
Oh, God, I wouldn't know. I don't think I've got either.
Yeah, that we feel that there's a difference between the spirit and the soul, and that your spirit is your, you know, your true self, your connection to God part, and the soul is the sort of the false part of yourself that's connected to this place.
God,
which
I don't
is
know.
Sort of my quick way to sum that up, what we were just talking about.
I don't really know. I haven't really given much thought to that. I kind of tend to stick.
I haven't either until recently.
I don't know. I think there's a certain consciousness that we're all connected by. But I don't know about soul and spirit. I don't really know.
Think that they're largely probably the difference between people who are all about what's on the earth and all about rejecting what's on the earth. Because the most, quote, spiritual people I know, they really don't give a crap about material stuff at all. I mean, I've collected a lot. I'm certainly not hurting for anything, and I don't claim that I don't care, because I do. I enjoy my comfort, and I know I need certain things to survive, but I would not be willing to give up my moral values for it. I wouldn't be able to give up any of that, because, and we talked about that True Love the other night when we were talking about Hollywood and things that people are willing to completely give up about themselves just to gain the popularity, the fame, the money, whatever. I mean,
yeah, you kind of have to sell your soul, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's the soul selling, because you're not selling your spirit. You're still alive. You're still connected, but you're basically selling your entire earthbound self and everything you stand for to gain earthbound treasures, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are really close to nature, or that's kind of spirituality I more believe in, if you know what I mean, being really connected with nature and stuff like that. So people that are pretty immaterial and really kind of connect with the earth, I think that's a great thing.
Oh, I think it's a wonderful thing. And even considering that, you have to consider the most materialistic people wouldn't ever put their feet on the earth. Their feet would get dirty. They have to have $800 shoes to put on their feet to walk around, because they want nothing but to be more separated from humans, from dirt, from life. They don't want to do their own work, touch their own food, do any of these things. It's like the soul wants to separate us from everything that the spirit drives us to be connected to. I mean, I don't know. I have a drive to put my feet in the dirt. I have to put my feet in the dirt. And sometimes I'm like, if I don't do it right now, I'm going to go crazy. Leave me alone. And I go in the backyard.
I had that happen when I was in Italy. I was going crazy because I was starving for green grass. I couldn't find it anywhere. And my whole day was consumed with trying to find a patch of green grass. And when I did, I sat there for hours. It was crazy. I couldn't understand it. Wow. Same thing happened in Rome. I was in Florence when that happened, and the same thing happened in Rome. And there was no green grass anywhere in Rome. It was all paved over or dirt.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad that I don't live in a city anymore. I live, I'm sat in my back garden now. If I just look, I can just see woods. So it's great now. I can just do a 2-minute walk, and I've walked through loads of woods. In one of my last videos was about, I took some pictures and stuff through the woods, and that's literally just 2 minutes from the back of my house. It's great around here. When it starts to, the birds have kind of shut up now because it's gone dark. But in the morning, and when night's falling, the birds are so loud. Loads of birds and loads of crazy noises in the night from all the animals in the woods, and owls howling and stuff like that. That's great.
Have you noticed that birds don't keep the hours that they used to anymore? Have you noticed that?
No, they're confused, especially the lights in the city and stuff. They're really confused.
They just pretty much go at all times here now. They used to at least keep to regular sun up, sundown, but they just go at all hours here now. And yeah, maybe it is city lights, but it's always been a city here. I mean,
are you going by sight or by sound?
It's weird.
Because where I live now, I find that because I'm more in the country, at night I'll get total blackout. So it's actually dark when I look outside. I can't see anything. So the birds are really on time with the light now. When it starts to go light and when it starts to go dark, they'll go crazy. Like an hour ago, all I could hear was birds, but now they must have all gone to bed. I don't know where do all the birds go when it gets dark. I've always wondered that. Do they just go and stay in their nest? Do they just go home and not come out?
That's why I asked if you were going by sight or sound, because out here, tons of stuff flying around, but I know that they're bats. But every once in a while, every couple of days maybe, in the middle of the night, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, everything's quiet. A bird will start chirping, chirp, 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 and then it stops, and you're like, that was really weird. But for the most part, no. As soon as it starts getting dark around here, everything starts getting quiet, and then about a half an hour before sunrise in the morning, the birds wake me up. They're hitting me about 4:30, 4:45 in the morning now.
Yeah, that's what I do. I usually stay up that late, and I've been having to go outside a lot to smoke at the moment because the room that we smoke in is kind of being decorated, so we're spending a lot of time outside. And last night well, this morning I was up till about 5, and yeah, it's about that time, 4 o'clock, just before and just when it's just starting to begin to get light, the birds go crazy. Like, it's almost deafening how loud they are. There's so many, it's so loud. But in the middle of the night last night, we get really loud. They must be owls, but it sounds like chimps. It sounds like chimps in the forest,
Wow.
like "Arr, arr, arr," like really, really, really loud. But it must be owls or something.
Yeah, I think those are
Owls
owls.
howling. But it sounds like chimps. They sound crazy, like really loud. It sounds like someone screaming in the forest.
Those are owls.
Yeah.
That's really weird. I've never heard of owls screaming in the woods before.
They do, because it freaked me out the first time when we moved here. I've lived here for about 3 years now. Because we used to live in a suburban area, not quite in the city, but you know, between. And then when we came here, it's so quiet and so dark. Just going out in the middle of the night and the noises used to freak me out. Like, it used to really scare me. Like, what the hell is that? You hear rustling, and then all these crazy loud noises, and you just get used to it in the end of just animals. We get all sorts of animals. We get deer, we get foxes, badgers, owls, pretty much all the British wildlife we get out here.
I used to say that when we moved to the country, I thought I was moving for to get rid of the noise, but it was actually just a different kind of noise I was looking for, because it is so loud. Oh my God, it's so loud. The tree frogs get going and the crickets are going, and you're like, shut up! But it's not the boo, boo, boo of speakers and sirens and all the crap you hear in town. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's nice because you feel connected to the actual world. And when we moved here, like, we didn't have TV because we just never bothered setting up the aerial for it. We didn't for years. We did for about 2 years, and it's just so refreshing.
No TV is so great. I love it.
But then, of course, we just spend all our time on YouTube anyway, so we're still still sucked into something.
You know, I like my TV, and I know I'm a weird one that still does, but I do. But, you know, I don't get into the newest shows that are out and whatever. I'm still busy absorbing all the old shows. I go through Netflix through all the old shows and watch all the programming. It's incredible, the stuff you find in there.
Well,
that video you posted yesterday?
Right? Yeah, the Meet the Fockers. Oh my God.
Because it's nice watching all the old sitcoms that are from the PC era. It's like all that good old-fashioned family racism that you just don't get on TV anymore. Not that I'm a racist, but it's just there's jokes that are
old-fashioned racism that's accepted because of tradition.
It's not. I mean that in a horrible way, but I mean jokes are funny when you watch stand-up comedy and it's jokes about color or race or disability. It's funny. You should be able to take of everything. That's the point. Nothing is safe in comedy, and that's what's good about it. And you see this whole sitcom and it's like that. Whereas now it's like, oh, you can't say that. Like my missus said, she saw some tweet and it was like they're regarding Friends now as sexist, misogynistic, and terrible. And it's like, really? It's Friends. It's fucking hilarious, for one. And it's not in any way, nasty.
Except it's full of trannies.
Well, see, and that's another thing. Friends was a whole different setup to make us think a whole different set of things. And that was one of my favorite shows. I cried. I literally cried when Friends ended. I was so bummed. I loved them all. They were like my friends. But
I love Friends, yeah. I still love Friends.
But here's the problem. So these shows that I've now come to realize are full of transgender people. Like Meet the Fockers was full of transgenders, and Friends was full of transgenders, and they're all programming to tell us how we should behave in certain situations. And
yeah, it's the PC thing. It's the policing each other. That's what's so good about it, because it doesn't have to involve government intervention, because we all police each other. Because everyone goes, oh, you can't say that. Oh my God, did you just say that? Did you hear what you're saying about the Roseanne thing? It's like people are so consumed with such bullshit. It's like everyone's a fucking flannel now.
Well, it's also like that person doesn't behave a normal way. They're not reacting the way you should react. They're not saying things they should say.
Mhm.
And it's all based on television programming.
Because another thought I had was, you know, with TV, like I like TV, like you still get amazingly made drama programs, factual programs, and there's good stuff to watch. You know, I like watching motoring, I like watching racing, and all this stuff. But you know, I'm just old enough and just sort of young enough. I was at the right time when all the celebrity stuff started happening. People being famous were just being famous, and it's like that's the cancer of fucking TV and all these reality shows. And some of them actually started off as reality shows or social experiments, and then they go series after series, and then it becomes contrived, like the Big Brother thing. Started off as quite an organic kind of thing, and it's like, oh, that's quite interesting. And then when they realise what characters you get, then the next series is like, okay, we're going to have a gay one, we're going to have a transgender one, we're going to have a fit guy that wants to do press-ups all the time. We're going to have this one, and it's like, and then every series is the same, and then you're programmed to be okay with transgenders, and
there has been
and then it's that political correctness.
There's been gay and transgendered characters slowly infiltrating the television since the 60s. The late 60s, I believe it was 68, was the first time a gay character showed up on a TV show, and I want to say it was a soap opera. It was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I did a hangout about it.
Edge of Night, right? Was that
I think so.
Yeah.
And it was, but see, the 80s, I think, was when we really crossed the lines from TV into reality, because we put a fucking actor in office as the president of the United States. Now, all of a sudden, Ronald Reagan is the president. He's political. Not to mention, oh my God, did you know that Maury fucking Povich was in politics? And so was Jerry fucking Springer. Jerry fucking Springer was in politics.
Really?
Yes. He was a fucking senator.
What?
And we look at television like it's telling us something real, and then they blurred it through the 80s by putting actual television people in real place. And then in the early 90s, they rolled out reality TV, and by its very nature, reality. It tells you what's really going on and what people really think about it, and it completely shaped an entire generation, and it is absolutely horrific.
That's I mean, the beginning of that is that's what turned me off, and just and that's what people talk about. People are so consumed by it. It's so annoying. That's why I hate other people.
They talk about.
And like the job I have is with the public as well, and it's like sometimes you just think, fuck me, everyone is a fucking moron sometimes.
And people like to watch those shows because they get to sit at home and they get to feel good about judging someone that is more fucked up than them. And that feels really good, because
it's always about somebody more fucked up than you. They're drunker than you, they're partier than you, they're fatter than you, they're dumber than you. It's always somebody that you're better than.
Their marriage is more fucked up than mine.
People like seeing other people's I don't know, like they like to see other people fail, suffering. Because there was a program on recently, and my girlfriend was watching it, and it's called Can't Pay Will Take It Away. So it's basically about bailiffs, or these high court enforcement that are above bailiffs, and they go around evicting people because they haven't paid their rent. And it's some,
oh my God.
And sometimes it's like a really sad story. Is because like some woman is like lost their job and they've got 5 kids and they haven't paid their rent for a year, and these people have got to evict them that day. And because with the high court enforcement, you can't get rid of those bailiffs. They're the type of bailiffs that have the right to enter your property. They're not the ones that you can just get rid of like normal bailiffs. They're above them. And they had to evict them that day. It's like, why are you watching this? This is fucking awful. This is so sad. Sometimes it's just like, it's a prick who's just not paid his stuff. But sometimes it's like a really awful story. Like that person really couldn't help that, and it's fucking tragic, and then they're just put on the street.
That's like the worst shit ever. It's the worst shit ever.
That's what people are watching.
People are watching
that's
that
what I mean.
shit.
That's insanity. And it's like,
Fuck.
wow, this
And
is
you know
so...
what the thing
why-
is that's putting all that fucking energy out that is just totally feeding the fucking reptilian fucking overlords, you know? They just fucking eat that shit up.
Well, it's what people say is that our farms and mentality.
Yeah. It just totally feeds
That's the
all
energy that they
fucking,
feed off.
Yeah.
You know what? I have said before, I wish I understood how it worked because I know I sound like I'm crazy and I feel like I'm crazy. But if they weren't feeding off our fear, they wouldn't be so fucking invested in scaring the shit out of us at every turn. And we are constantly terrified. This terror attack, that terror attack, even our truther community. Fear the police, fear the politicians, fear the judges, fear everything. Be scared of everything. They're coming for your kids. They're gonna vaccinate by force. They're gonna do all this shit. And
there's 6-year-olds having panic attacks. Yeah, there's like 6-year-olds having panic attacks. Like, you know, there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that.
Like the biggest killer of men in the UK, I don't know if it's probably the same in America, is suicide. That's above smoking, above drinking, above anything.
Wow.
The biggest killer of men in the UK is suicide.
Wow.
That's insane, isn't it? When you think like all the deaths you get from, you know, cardiovascular diseases, suicide is higher.
Wow.
You're breaking up there, Chris. But yeah, I think suicide is huge because I think a lot of men in general feel like complete fucking failures in their lives. They can't keep a decent job because there aren't any. They can't make decent money because there isn't any. They can make as much money as they can possibly make in their profession, and still their fucking kids are going hungry and their wives are leaving them for rich men, and their lives are spinning out of control because the ends aren't supposed to meet in this system. That's the trick of the system. You're not supposed to make your ends meet, and it's supposed to make you miserable and full of anxiety. And that's why it's so easy to get fucking government assistance and welfare and all of this shit. They make it so easy because they want you to depend on the system. And men in general don't depend on the system. Men depend on themselves. It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of like an ingrained thing that most...
Well, they're taught that, you know, that you're supposed to be a man and take care of shit and be independent.
I mean,
you don't ask for help, and, you know.
But I mean, the very drive to take care of your woman that you have drawn close to you, you have a drive to take care of her and whatever offspring you have. You want to do that. And when you feel like a complete fucking failure because nothing you do helps, I think that men probably are more prone to suicide because they spin out. They don't know how, and because they've been denying their feelings their entire lives, they don't know how to process feelings of failure, emotional feelings, because only pussies have feelings. So they can't even deal with what they're feeling when they're feeling it. How fucked of a system is that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty twisted.
Happy.
Pretty twisted.
No, the most twisted thing about it is that people look at this shit and they think it's normal. It's normal to feel that much anxiety. It's normal to worry that much. It's just that's just the economy right now, and you just have to deal with it. No, this is not normal.
Yep.
No.
It's normal to have this much self-hate. Everyone goes through this, you know. It's normal to feel shame. Everyone goes through this, you know. No, it's not normal. No one should feel this way. It's actually not okay to be unhappy.
Well, they can't admit that it's not normal, because if you understood that it wasn't normal, then you wouldn't just reach for a pill to make you feel like everybody else. And there they'd lose you. They'd lose the whole point of you, which is all the money that you bring in.
Yeah.
Well, they rely on it too because it feeds the system. Because people feel depressed, so they look for things to feed themselves, fill themselves up, and they turn to porn, TV, video games, drinking, drugs, entertainment, shopping, all of these materialistic things.
Yep.
And to try to fill themselves up, and then they just keep finding emptiness, and so they just consume more and more and more, still, and maybe different things, trying to fill themselves up and still finding emptiness. And at the end, they realize there's nothing there because it's all hollow and empty. So yay for materialism.
Yep. It's no mistake that shopping malls, you know, popped up everywhere in the 80s, you know, late 70s, early 80s. They knew what they were doing, you know. They knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted people.
The traditional version of Santa Claus wasn't even a thing until the 50s.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice, there's a 5G tower on top of every single shopping mall.
I really have to wonder what these people are. Like, I don't think that they're people. And I know that that's fucking crazy. And I know a lot of people think that, you know, I must have fucking shook loose of my senses. But I have to wonder. They poison the air. They poison the water. They poison the food. They poison everything around them. And yet they survive and we're all systematically dying. You have to wonder, what in the hell are these people?
They aren't human. They're not like us. They hate us. They don't give a shit about us. They are trying to destroy us, but they're not allowed to flat out kill us without our consent. And so they do all of this shit, and they get our consent. And they get our consent by getting us to put this shit in our homes. Like, they'll tell us that this stuff kills us, but we just like, well, it's the only thing available, so we have to take it. And what are we going to do? They put out 5G, and then they tell us it kills us, and then they say, well, here's a box to put in your home, and you can get free Wi-Fi. Everybody's going to put a fucking box in their home, and they're going to pay for it and say,
I was talking to people about it yesterday, and he's like, well, it's the only way we can get internet out where we live, so what are we going to do? We're going to have to get the box. And I'm like, you're going to put that thing in your house with your 4 children walking around it. Okay? Yeah. Because it's your only option. I'd go without fucking internet. I mean, seriously, you have internet right now. It's shitty, but you have internet. Like,
so over here, it's all about smart meters, the energy,
that as well.
The energy things, because I think they're going to make it, probably going to make it mandatory soon. But that's the thing with all this stuff, is that people are welcoming it. That's the sickening thing. They want the smart meters. They want the smart TVs. Anything with smart is fucking cancer. Anything with smart means it can be hacked, controlled.
Yeah. So when it's great.
So when you've got a smart meter, and then you've got a smart something else controlling other stuff,
that everything means the exact opposite. So if it says smart, you automatically know, stay away from it. They are literally telling you the opposite. So if they say, oh, this is excellent, you have to get it, you're like, no. They don't.
But it's the smart. So here's the thing with the smart meter, the 5G, the technology. These are I call them techno evils. They're technology. They're tied to the. Okay, you want to talk about crazy? I know, conspiracy mystic. You don't particularly understand or like what I have to say about this sort of stuff, but they're techno evils. They exist outside of the spectrum, the visible spectrum that we can see. They are outside of this realm, and these beings, these elites, they tap into these people, and that's how we get our technology. They're trying to terraform the earth because they're going to come here eventually, and that is what is going on, and that is what's to do with this artificial AI consciousness, this artificial AI beings that they're putting in front of us, is to get us to accept them. But they've already been here. They just haven't told us that, and they look just like the rest of us. But this technology, this 5G technology, anything smart, anything like that connects to the internet, they are listening to us, but they are also coming in through the technology. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that is the ridiculousness of this realm that we live in. Everything is frequency, vibration, and energy. And they tap into this energy, and they are going to be coming in through the electrical system and the Wi-Fi and the 5G. And I talked about this before in previous videos. With they're going to manifest here through the electrical system that they are building through 5G. It sounds stupid, but I'm pretty certain that that's what's going on.
I don't necessarily disbelieve that, because there is definitely something to the internet, and there is definitely something to extra personalized entities. There are things floating around that do not have bodies, and I know that. And you saying this triggered a memory in me when we were talking the other night, and I started talking about Eric. Oh my God, what did I start talking about? The guy from Eric Dubé's video about the different. Oh my God, the different Bible, etc., and the astrotheological stuff, the thing that Eric Dubé put out. I brought up one of the guys that was on there, and then I completely lost my train of thought, and I couldn't pull it back. And I realized that the reason that I completely lost my train of thought and could not pull it back was because I said the wrong name. And I kept trying to pull what we were talking about into that guy, and I couldn't because it was the wrong guy. The person I was thinking of wasn't John St. Julian. I was thinking of Eric Rains. And Eric Rains talks about actual entities attaching to us, dark entities attaching to us and causing physical ailments. Do you have an ache in your back that you can't ever seem to get rid of, no matter what you do? Is it possible it's actually a dark entity that is attached to your physical being? And I thought that sounded completely insane. But as a person with a back that constantly goes out in the same spot, I actually listened to some of what he was saying one day, and I went into a bit of a meditation, and I actually talked to the pain in my back like it was a thing and asked it to leave, and it did. And I was like, what the hell just happened? And so it's had me thinking a lot more deeply about these dark things in the world around us, these spirits, these ghosts, these whatever they are that do seem to possess us when we get drunk, when we are inconsolably sad and spiraling out of control and things like that. It seems that we open ourselves to these things and they do take advantage. So it makes me wonder how much of that non-terrestrial, non-solid, extra vibrational, however the hell you're going to express it, how much of that is really, really, really in play right now, right here where we can't see it. Because I mean, it's like 90% of the visible spectrum we can't even see anyway. It's there, we know it's there, we can measure it, but we can't see it.
The frequency of the planet has been changed. I mean,
supposedly, you can't prove that.
Well, no, we can't, but you know, if we are to believe that the frequency change, there's something going on, you know, that falls in line with we can't find any reason for all of these metals being put in the air, but when you think of it along this line, it starts to make sense why they would be putting all of these different metals in the air over and over and over again, and why it's been ramped up so much lately. It starts to make sense, especially when you see that the ramping up is in line with 5G coming out. Chemtrails
the idea is that
have gotten, you know, more and more intense the same time that 5G is kicked off, you know? It's kind of interesting.
Well, the idea is that the chemtrails contain all of these metal particles that attach themselves to everything, which is why they're leaning towards creating the Internet of Things, or perhaps maybe more than leaning. And so in order for it to become the Internet of Things, they all have to be connected, and metal is a superconductor. And so it makes sense that if they're going to make an Internet of Things, they need to attach this metal to everything so that the connection is there. And if but I am not certain that these metals actually do that job, because I'm not aware enough of what particular metals, like barium, aluminum, and all that sort of thing, what role they actually play in terms of connectivity and how they work in tandem with Wi-Fi or 5G or any of that. But I would imagine that that has something to do with it, that there is some connection between the chemtrails and 5G and electricity, and all of this has to do with the terraforming of the Earth in preparation for what the fuck is to come.
Little Bird says they did a test run of 5G in a small town in England, and there was a spike in sudden nosebleed and stillbirths. And Flat Earth Dave says he's on 5G now.
Yeah, the test they did here, there was paralysis of the limbs. I know there was various neurological symptoms. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting now. Paralysis of the limbs, blindness, deafness. I'll have to look it up because there was a few other things. Because it was the way they were talking about it was that they were like trying to make it look like a new polio.
Kind of like all the people in that one school in New England a couple of years ago where they all suddenly were paralyzed and weird, and they were like, we don't know why. It's mass hysteria. It's mass hysteria.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's scary stuff. And they can't... That, as far as I'm concerned, that is probably the best proof to the fact that these people cannot be people, because they do have access to the real scientific studies. They do have access to the undoctored shit that says, oh, this stuff doesn't hurt anybody. And they know, and they do it anyway. And
that's the thing, they of course they know it fucks you up.
They have to. And but that's my point. Because they know, they have to know it won't affect them. They have to, or they would care.
And not only does it not affect them, it's good for them. It allows them, it's what is going to allow them to play here, to live here. That's what they want. That's why they're taking over. They've prepared this place for them. And if the elite are nothing more than vessels for these beings to come here and inhabit this place, they don't give a shit about the vessel. They believe that this vessel is not of any value anyway. They give away their soul. They're transgendered. They don't believe that they believe in nihilism. They're totally fucked in the head, and they serve their god, and their god is this being, this fake god. And so they're doing what they can to serve this lower vibrational being who is the god of the underworld, and is going to allow these beings to come here. And whether they survive or not is totally irrelevant, because that is what they think is going to get them to heaven or whatever. They're going to get some reward in the afterlife or something. There's some benefit to them doing this, whether the physical...
Yeah, I think this is the heaven they plan to create, where they rule all, and that's all there is, and everybody's just a slave that under the whip.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so.
Because to them, this place is heavenly. They're ruled nothing. They do nothing. They own everything and do nothing, and they get us to do everything for them, and we're fucking stupid enough to do it. And we love our chains. We love them. We fight for them. We argue for them. We argue for our limitations, and we praise these fucking celebrities and love them and bow down to them and worship them, and we're fucking idiots. And they love it here, because where they come from is literal hell. It is worse than this. Like, to us, this is hell. This is hell.
So what I was going to say about other people as well, So I think Mystic was, Evie was saying about people who, you talk to people and they're like, well, I don't give a fuck what shape the earth is or whatever, or this or that. And it's more the people that think that they're doing okay, the ones that aren't in debt or got bailiffs on the door because they've got their mortgage, they've got their kids, they're happy in their bubble. And then that's why they're ignorant to everything. So they don't want to know anything else because they're happy, they think they're okay, but then they don't realise that it's those people, they're after their money too. They're after their brains, their homes, their everything there too. They think they're okay, but they're okay for now, if you know what I mean. They're only okay for now. And that's what annoys me. That is that feeling of like, oh, I feel okay. So that breeds a certain type of ignorance. And it's like, oh,
and complacency.
I've got friends like that.
Yep.
You know,
exactly.
my best friend. He's like, he has his wife and his 2 kids, and he's lovely. He's awesome. He's my best friend. Love him to bits. But then there's a certain type of ignorance that goes with that as well. And sometimes we
ignore it
before. But yeah, that's just another type of mentality that kind of gets on my nerves a bit, because they think that they're okay, and they're not really.
Yeah, people are very apathetic, you know.
It's actually funny because that's what prompted me to wake up. Was I sat here going, I have everything. I have a husband that loves me. I have 2.3 perfect children. I own my own business. I have my own home. I have my new car that starts every time I turn the key. I don't have to work. I did the stay-at-home mom thing. Like, I have this picture perfect on paper life. Why am I so fucking miserable? Yeah. Why does this suck so bad? Why do I hate it? Why do I hate people? Why does the system seem so broken? And it was that disruption in me. It's like, I should be happier, and I am happy. I am so content. I love my life, but there's something messed up out there, and I want to be part of changing it, because the people that aren't in this scenario like me, they're not happy, and there's nothing they can do about it because the system is set up to screw them. Yeah. You know, that's not okay. I can't just sit and be happy in my happiness and fuck everybody else, because the system is broken. It's wrong, and it's set up that way on purpose. On purpose.
That is a good point, because it is the epitome of selfishness. These people who are content right now, who don't want to know the truth, even though it's shoved in front of their face. What difference does it make what shape the earth is? Don't you want to know that everybody's fucking lying to you? Because I'm okay. I don't need to help anybody else. That is supreme selfishness.
Yeah. Just because you're okay doesn't mean that everyone is okay. And you know damn well that the world isn't okay. You know it's not okay. Don't you dare fucking tell me that you think the world is okay. So fuck you with, I don't want to know what shape the world is. It doesn't fucking matter to me. Fuck. Okay, don't worry about that. What about every fucking thing else? Fuck people who don't want to know the truth. You're scared and you're lazy.
Yeah, I know it sounds harsh and we sound heartless in saying this, but they're the ones that are heartless and selfish, and these people who, honestly, they can't handle it. They wouldn't be able to handle it. Their whole world would fall apart, and that's the way it's supposed to be. My whole world fell apart, but I'm still here. Mine. And all of our worlds fell apart. If it doesn't fall apart, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Waking up is painful. It's painful and it's uncomfortable. And anybody that tells you enlightening is a beautiful experience is full of shit, and they never actually went through it, because the more enlightened I am, the more unfucking comfortable I am, and the more I'm like, oh my God, what is this place?
Oh yeah, that's why the whole tranny thing blew my mind. I was like, oh, whatever. So maybe there's a couple of transgenders that aren't telling people, but no, it's all of them. They're all fucking lying. They're all fucking trannies. They're all throwing it in our faces and mocking us and lying about it. And I'm like, this is seriously fucked up shit. Seriously fucked up. And it's like, there was a time where I came to a plateau and I was like, okay, I'm waiting for the next whammy. Where's the next whammy? Because there was
We
a
were
time where it was
talking about
like,
that. We
boom,
were talking about
boom,
it
boom.
like right before the finding the tranny thing. We were talking about that. Like, nothing has shocked us in a really long time. It's been a really long time since we've been shocked by anything. Boom.
Yeah, and like I think I can't even remember the last thing that shocked me.
I know.
I was shocked this morning. It's a minor stupid.
By what?
You guys have probably never seen this stupid movie because you're not redneck weirdos like my husband is. But in the movie Walk the Line, which is basically
I've seen it.
Have you? It's like a biography of Johnny Cash. I loved the movie. I thought the movie was excellent. It was supposedly made by his children, so it was, to be accurate. His first wife, Vivian, she was a black woman. And on the movie, she's a white girl. She apparently has predominantly European figures or Caucasian features or whatever the fucking political correct way to say that is. And she has lighter skin. But when you look her up, her name.
You're all wet.
If you look her up, she's actually a black woman. And why on earth they would have cast a white woman to play her part on the biography of their father? Like, that was incredibly dishonest and really weird because that would have almost been a political statement for the time. I mean, you're talking 50s. And he was this famous
They didn't want to make that political statement.
They should have. Well, you know what? I get it. You don't want to make waves. You don't want to make a political statement. But I'm the kind of person where
It's not what that movie was about.
I don't care. You fucking lied to me. You lied to me one time, and now I don't believe anything you had to fucking say. And that's how I work. And so that bothered me. Like, why would they lie about that of all things? Not like there's plenty of darker skinned women running around with fucking Eastern European features or whatever, but whatever. Kiss my ass. I mean, Western European features, but yeah. So yeah, that surprised me. I was surprised by that. But I can honestly say my level of surprise has gone way down because, I mean, once the earth is flat, you really can't, I mean, there's not much you can do after that. It's just a series of small
I think
pieces.
Yeah, the flat earth thing with me, but I think like the false flag hoaxes was a huge whammy for me.
Yeah, me too.
The tranny thing was pretty big. The dead entities, that was pretty big. History being a lie, history being a lie was a pretty big deal.
See, and I got all this shit after Flat Earth, so as it started rolling in, after Flat Earth, after I was like, what? The little things start rolling, I was like, well, okay. Well, no, yeah. Well, okay. It was just not that hard after that.
Oh no, yeah, I totally agree. Like flat Earth is like up here on the scale of the whammies, and everything else is kind of down here. But they are whammies, and then you're just like, oh, okay. But at the same time, you're just like, what?
What the fuck? Yeah.
But okay.
What the fuck? What the actual?
It isn't like.
Well, that was it.
It wasn't like.
That is such a monumentally gigantic, over the top. Oh my God! You've got to be kidding me! Lie. That once I actually wrap my head around it, anything else, it just hasn't been that big since. It's like, okay, a bunch of transvestites. Okay, I can see that.
No, transgender, not transvestite.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But
are you politically correcting me? Seriously?
No, they're two different
no, it's
things.
Different.
They're two different things.
It's two different things. That's why.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
But if you like for flat Earth, to me was like it literally earth shattering. Like it shattered my entire existence. I was like, what the fuck? I can't trust anybody. I don't know what's right anymore. I threw everything out the window. So it's like, how are you supposed to there isn't anything that does that. Anything at all that does that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It's not possible. You can't match it because it wipes everything out.
It did. It brought so many. There was so much shit that I knew that didn't make any sense. It was like, but I don't get how this would connect to this. I don't. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But then it's like, oh, well, the whole Earth isn't actually a globe. Suddenly, this is a direct fucking line to this, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. So much makes sense. Oh my God, I still can't believe there's people running around calling me retarded. I'm like, seriously? If you seriously sit there and tell me I'm, quote, retarded, that means you haven't looked at it for 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes of your whole life you haven't looked at it. Because if you did, you would look at me and say, I think maybe you're wrong. Or I think you misunderstood. Or I think maybe you don't understand. You would say anything except you're fucking retarded.
Yeah. It's funny. It's been a while since somebody gave me a flat earth moron comment, you know?
Yeah, it's been a minute for me
Oh, the
too.
good old days. The good old days.
I still, honestly, like people are like, how could so many people be in on the flat earth? And I can still, if I sit and I just imagine it for a minute, picture the guy at the top, okay? He knows. And then you're like, okay, his closest people, they must know too. So you got what, like 4 people or his closest people. You got 5 people at the top. They know everything. And they're like, how the fuck are we ever going to keep this a secret? Well, what are we going to do? We have to send rockets into space. Okay, well, we're going to hire an agency and they're going to fucking build us rockets. Okay, so they call it, hello, agency? We need rockets. We'll send you the specs. Now you got a whole fucking group of people that are going, we're building rockets that are going to space and we got the specs for it and everything. You guys are idiots. Really? It was 5 guys at the top that sent you a fucking piece of paper and asked you to build something. And then they sent you the money that went with it and you assumed that what they were saying was true. Like there really is very, very, very little knowledge that has to pass from one brain to another to make this work. I think honestly, the elite that think they know more than the rest of us. I'm talking about us flat earthy weirdo fucking people. I'm talking the people that actually know the reality of what this shit is. I bet you if there is 7 billion people on this plane, I bet you that there is 5,000 tops that know. 5 grand that know everything. There are some that know everything about this little corner and they're in on their little secret and they think they're so smart, but they think that their little corner relates to this bullshit 3D. Oh, we're smarter than ever. We have more money. We're doing things. We're lying. We're gaining. It's all about, material gain. They don't actually know. I bet you there's 5,000 people at the top that know everything, that know who runs Hollywood, what the propaganda's about, who owns all the alphabet gangs, who knows that the earth is actually flat and space is bullshit. I bet you the astronauts that supposedly went to the moon don't even actually land in that 5,000. I bet they don't know. And they know they don't know, and they know they'll be shot, killed, and so will all their families if they say shit about what they do or don't know, and so they don't. They become alcoholics and punch you in the face if you ask them to swear on a Bible that they did something. Like, I don't think anybody has to know. Nobody has to know. As long as there's a department for everything, that everything gets done. Oh, we shot shit off. There it went to the moon. See ya. No one has to know. I'm sorry, that's my little stupid assessment, but that's how I feel about it. Because really, that was the big one. How could this possibly go off and no one knows? But if you really think about it, with a logical, open, serious mind, seriously, Who needs to know? When you're at your fucking job, you don't know where shit came from. You open a box, put it on a shelf. That's all you know. You don't know where it came from. You don't know where it went. You don't know who built it. You don't know why they built it. You don't know you don't know anything except for take this and do that. Who does in their job? Who knows more than that? No one. This screw goes through this thing and connects these two things, and it's on a rocket. I worked on rockets. I know space is real. That's what you get.
Yep. It's compartmentalization. I have a friend whose family worked for NASA, and he cannot tell them that the Earth is flat because they will not believe him. They worked for NASA. They built rockets. Like, so fucking what if you built rockets? They didn't go anywhere. They didn't go to space. Like...
Yeah, but they don't need to know any more than that, do they? People only need to know their job.
Right.
People don't know beyond that. Yeah.
And they're told not to ask questions beyond their job. You don't need to know that. It's beyond the scope of your job. Everything's on a need-to-know basis. We were talking earlier about the fact that there's levels to the police force. There's levels where there's the lower level police. They do as they're told. They are totally ignorant of how everything is run. Then there's a higher level that they're part of a brotherhood, and they know how shit runs. They know that they're supposed to stick together and cover things up and lie about things and how. And then there's an even higher level where they're militarizing the police force, and they're aware of what's going on to a certain extent, and they're bringing in tanks and landmines and all sorts of gear and equipment that they don't need, and automatic weapons, and they're aware of what's going on to a certain extent. And then there's the even higher ups who know even more what's going on and mandate that this shit happens all across the country or all across the world. So, and then you got the UN, which is orchestrating the whole fucking thing across the world. So there are all these different levels, and the people in the lower level, the people that you interact with on a one-on-one basis, they don't know. They just do as they're told. You might end up with a good guy, you might end up with a douchebag.
Yep.
No, but that's how far the deception goes, and people think that they're doing something good, by becoming a police officer or something like that, and then they're just going to get sucked up by the system, because you can't change the system will change you. That's how it works. Same with politics. You can go into politics with good intentions, but you won't get anywhere.
They hire less and less people with good intentions, though, and that's been proven with documents that they
hire
had the intention to hire psychopaths and sociopaths since the 80s, and I can tell you based on my husband's activism that's true. That
I have to say that I know police officers personally, like people I know firsthand, because we've had to work with police a lot in the last 20 years. I work with cops all the time, and I know police officers who are genuine, decent people. They got into that field because they wanted to create a decent community for their kids to grow up, and they have kids, and I even know a cop who is the sergeant of the police force, and his wife homeschools their kids. Like, he's not sound asleep. I think the main problem happens in shit like this when we look at the people that we work with. Like, I look at you people like you're my family, my brothers and sisters, my like-minded fellow humans who are seeking the same thing as me. And I think that when you get into something like police work, because it is some people are so anti-police. I mean, you have people in the quote hood who would just as soon shoot a cop than speak to him. And so now you're in a dangerous thing where you may not agree with the person you're working with at all. This guy beats the shit out of his wife, and I think he's an asshole, and I don't do that, and I am a decent, loving person. However, I have a brotherhood with this guy because we both do this job, and I think that a lot of people give more weight to the quote brotherhood that they have with people they work with in places like the military or the police than they do with their actual blood fucking relationship. Because how many people will drop their blood and walk the fuck away? I've done it.
Oh, more than their morals.
Yeah,
it's more
you're
than
like,
their morals.
no, I'm out, and you walk away. But these cops, they will go down for their brothers, even if they're wrong, because they see this as some kind of false family connection. And I think that is the thing that really fucks with us. And we're taught to do that from high school, from cliques. And then you go into college where you're in fraternities, where you will go down for your brothers in your fraternity. You'll go down for them because they're your brothers. Maybe he's an asshole and you hate him, but he's your brother and you have to do what's right. And that's what the cops do, and that's what the military does. And it creates this big fucking brotherhood of people who don't give two shits about you, only for each other, looking out for each other's best interest. If we've fucked you over, it becomes this really messed up, twisted thing.
Yeah, because you're choosing that over integrity, over your morals, over everything else. When that becomes the most important decision is the brotherhood, then yeah, there's something seriously fucked up. And when you're breeding that in military and police and everything else, yeah, there's something seriously fucking wrong.
Well, I say another thing that annoys me or saddens me is that different to the people that go into politics and police and stuff with good intentions, but it's the people, like regular people, that think that they're duped into think that they're doing something good by doing a charity fun run for cancer research. And that sickens me, because we all know that there's cures for cancer, and all you're doing is just funding a tax-free haven charity that are funding the pharmaceutical industry and all that bullshit. Like, that saddens me. People think that they're doing something good by doing a fucking cancer fun run. It's like, God, ugh. Like, cancer research is the worst thing ever.
They're actually perpetuating the disease.
But it's just that foolery that people, people believe that truly believe that they're doing something good. And it's just going nowhere. That makes me sick.
And that's my main reason for still mildly supporting the military, because I know the people that go in the military, they're not part of the workings of the machine. They're slaves of the machine. They actually think they're doing something good. They're actually have their hearts in the right place, and they're trying to genuinely help their brothers and sisters, and they are just doing the wrong thing and just killing someone else's brothers and sisters and affecting no change at all, which makes it just sad. But
it's just funding more bullshit. It's the military complex. People doing the fun runs or funding the pharmaceutical fucking complex or whatever, all the most evil things in the world. It's just
they say
annoying.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and we're nowhere if not in hell right fucking now. And I would say all roads paved land here.
Yeah,
right. I might have to get off the call now. I'll just I'll be listening. I don't know how you guys can do this for so long. I can't do much more.
I gotta run to the store too, so I gotta jump off as well. I gotta get to the market before it gets later.
It's about that time. Yeah. Well, gosh, we've been on for a while. Thanks for coming on. I'm gonna shut her all down. Chris, it was just freaking delightful to see your handsome little face on my screen.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, I thought it would be good to come on, just say hello, because I do like watching your streams, and I just have respect for anyone that gets out and does it, because I couldn't do one myself.
Oh, sure you could.
Chat. No, fuck that.
It's comes natural to me.
So I'll sometimes come on with people, just say hello and have a little chat. Like, I like going on with the dude, because the dude, I don't know, the dude is good therapy for me. So I like going on just to say hello, just out of respect, really. Just
that dude.
And so I thought I'd do for you as well. So, but yeah, it's good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, sure.
And it's good to speak to everyone.
Good chatting with you, Chris.
But yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Hey, sweet.
Bye.
Bye.
And off you go, Alice.
Yep, I'm out of here as well. It was
Yep,
good chatting with you.
I'm gonna go cook my supper. I'm glad I triggered a few people. I actually had a nice little chat, people. That's awesome.
It was a great chat. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
I will see you all soon. Take care.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, Alice.
Bye.
Yeah, it was a great chat. Thank you very much for having us. And I'm sure we could continue for many. What?
A short one, but I figured I might actually catch some people. It's Friday evening. I was like, hey, maybe if I go on, because I was bored.
Well, are you likely to do it again on Sunday, or are you going to move it to Friday now?
No, actually, I think I actually have a topic for Sunday, which is why I stayed far away from it today. So I will probably be on Sunday like my norm.
Cool.
Gotta come up with my topic so when nobody shows up, I can talk about what I need to talk about. I seem to man.
Yeah, I probably will go on tomorrow again. I got lots to talk about, so.
Cool. Well,
yeah.
I'm sure I'll be
this was fun
and screaming in your chat.
Great. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are.
Oh God, I always look forward to it. You know what? So much shit triggers me so negatively in general, in day-to-day, moment-to-moment life. It's nice to be triggered in a way that I can actually express it. Because when you're standing in the middle of a damn Walmart and something triggers you, you don't bitch at everybody around you, but you can bitch at people in chat or on screen or whatever. And, you know, you're talking to people that are generally speaking, thinking like you are. It's nice to not feel so fucking crazy sometimes, you know? Oh,
totally.
God, it's absolutely batshit lunatic to fucking care if you're eating poison. How did that become such a crazy thing to care about? I don't even understand. I don't get it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go eat my non-poisonous dinner, and I will see you tomorrow.
Alrighty.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for chatting us up. See you later.